Hello to all. The information I'm about to read to you is taken from www.exposingchristianity.com, a copy of a Catholic confession primer. This exposes the hatred the Christian God has for anything of human nature. This is pathetic but makes for a good laugh. This is a copy of a Catholic confession primer. Humor aside, in regards to this, it is more than obvious that these people are seriously sick. This is so anti-life and a perfect example of how daily God hates humanity and anything human. Every human trait is covered here. What makes us all human? These tenets are so anti-human and alien. What is worse is how they push these sick teachings on innocent children and destroy more lives. This sick religion needs to come to an end, and soon is not soon enough. Besides telling the nature of our sins, we must also recollect as far as possible the number of times we have committed them, telling also and only those circumstances which at times may either make a venial sin mortal or a mortal sin not notably worse. Have I ever failed to confess a serious sin or disguised it? Have I been guilty or of irreverence for this sacrament by failing to examine my consciousness carefully? Have I failed to perform the penance given me by the confessor or disobeyed any of his directions? Have I neglected the Easter duty of receiving Holy Communion, or failed to confess my sins within a year? Have I any habits of serious sin to confess first? Impurity, drunkenness, etc. First commandment. Am I ignorant of my catechism, act of contrition, of Apostles' Creed, 10 Commandments, 7 Sacraments, the Our Father? Have I willfully obtained or denied any of the teachings of the Church heresy? Have I taken an active part in my non-Catholic worship? Am I a member of any anti-Catholic or any secret society? Have I knowingly read any anti-Catholic literature? Have I practiced any superstition, horoscopes, fortune tellers, etc.? Second commandment. Have I used God's name in vain by way of profanity? Have I murmured or complained against God's blasphemy? Have I maligned priests or other consecrated to God? Have I sworn to God's name, oath, either falsely or rashly? Have I broken any private vow? Third commandment. Have I missed Mass on Sundays or holidays through my own fault? Have I been late for Mass through my own negligence? Have I been inattentive at Mass or otherwise failed in reverse for the most blessed sacrament? Have I done unnecessary servile work, physical labor, or shopping on Sunday? Fourth commandment. Have I been disrespectful to my parents or neglected them? Have I failed in obedience to reverence to others in authority? Have I mistreated my wife or children? Have I been disobedient or disrespectful to my husband? Regarding my children, have I neglected their material needs? Have I failed to care for their early baptism or their power religious instruction? Have I allowed them to neglect their religious duties? Have I otherwise failed to discipline them? Have I given bad them example? Have I interfered with their freedom to marry or follow a religious vocation? Fifth and eighth commandments. Have I quarreled with anyone? Have I cursed anyone or otherwise wished evil on him? Have I taken pleasure in anyone's misfortune? Is there anyone to whom I refuse to speak or be reconciled? Have I lied about anyone, calumnied? Have I rash judged anyone of a serious sin? Have I engaged in gossip, distraction, or spread scandal? Have I lent an ear to scandal about my neighbor? Have I been jealous or envious of anyone? Sixth and ninth. Have I denied my spouse his or her marriage rights? Have I practiced birth control? Have I abused my marriage rights in any other way? Have I committed adultery or fornication? have I touched or embraced another impurely? Have I sinned with others of the same sex? Have I committed masturbation or otherwise sinned impurely with myself? Have I harbored lustful desires for anyone? Have I indulged in other impure thoughts? Have I failed to dress modestly? Have I done anything to provoke or occasions impure thoughts in others? Have I read indecent literature or looked at indecent pictures? Have I watched suggestive films or programs? Have I permitted my children or others under my charge to do these things? Have I used indecent language or told indecent stories? Have I willingly listened to such stories? Have I boasted of my sins? Have I sinned against chastity in any other way? 7 and 10 Commandments. Have I stolen anything? Have I damaged anyone's property through my own fault? Have I cheated or defrauded others? Have I refused or neglected to pay any debts? Have I neglected my duties or been slothful in my work? Have I refused or neglected to help anyone in urgent necessity? Have I failed to make restitution? Other sins. Have I knowingly caused others to sin? Have I cooperated in the sin of others? Have I sinned by gluttony? Have I become intoxicated? Have I used narcotics? Have I been motivated by avarice? Have I indulged in boasting or vainglory? Have I received Holy Communion or another sacrament in the state of mortal sin? Is there any other sin I need to confess? Thank you for listening, and hail Satan.